My name is Eric LaCasse. I am the owner of SEO Expert Las Vegas, and today we're going to be talking about Google Ads and SEO. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences, and we're going to explain to you what makes the difference between why you should be using Google Ads and why you should be using SEO. Google Ads. Google Ads is basically sales at this point, right? It's a hair, it's fast. You can get a campaign started with copy put onto the sponsored link on the top of the search page, and you can get clicks within the day, right? If it's written well and if it's done well with copy and engaging meta descriptions, you can get people to come to you right away. SEO is not like that. SEO is a long-term investment. It's a long-term building of a brand. It takes time, right? Depending on where your business is at, if we're starting or if you've been open for a while, you may want to think about, is the ads that I want to build going to help get people to my website? But SEO starts when they come to your homepage. That's on-page SEO. If you have $10,000 budget for your Google ads and they come to your homepage and they click off, the ads aren't the problem. It's the on-page SEO. SEO takes all the things about your business, all the things that you've learned about what you do for your business, and builds a brand. You want to build a brand. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be different. SEO kind of puts you into this journey of what makes you stand out from your competition. Both Google Ads and SEO are completely derived from keyword research. If you do not do the keyword research effectively, then your ads won't convert, and if you don't do your keywords effectively, your on-page won't convert. You've got to learn, and this is very important when you're starting out a business, what is it that defines you as the business owner, what defines you as to engage with your audience, and then use that into your on-page and even your Google Ads, right? So keyword research is, in a nutshell, everything that Google indexes has a word associated with it, with a volume, the number of times it's being searched per month, a competitive number out of 100. So the lower the number, the lower the competitiveness. And then what is called the CPC, which is cost per click. There are certain industries, law, real estate, tourism, those words cost $20 to maybe $200 a click. When you know that, you know how much you have to budget for, right? So if you know that it's going to cost you $200 for hotels in Las Vegas, and you want to start building a campaign for that, you may want to think about looking at that hotels in Las Vegas and putting something before it. Best, affordable, nearest the strip, furthest from the strip, law, injury law, car and accident law. Those you start to put into another element of SEO, which is called long tail keywords. The longer it is, you won't have the competitiveness for it, but the volume will be going down as well, but you can rank for it faster. And ranking is the name of the game. If you do not want to rank for keywords, then don't have a business website, right? But if you want to start building a long list of keywords and start ranking for them, especially in the beginning, you want to use longer words. Any questions? Any questions? I didn't ask that the first time. Nope, no questions? Okay. So like I said before, SEO is a marathon. Here's an interesting statistic. I'm going to ask you guys, in the last 3 months, how many of you have actually clicked on a sponsored ad? Sponsored ads, last 3 months. Exactly, yeah. So here's the thing. Sponsored ads only convert, on average, 30% of the time, right? Now the thing is, PPC ads, ad management, they space out the audience to 100,000 to 1 million people, so that 30% actually starts to become profitable. SEO is the opposite. If you have an on-page SEO that's utilizing keywords, utilizing selling to your customer, you will convert 70-80% of the time. It works as a whole, right? It just works that way. It's 30% for the paid ads because people don't want to click on it. But if they click on your web page and they start converting, they start going through, they start answering, they start clicking to call you, start clicking to email you, click to text you. That is completely representative by 70 to 80% conversion just on the SEO side. So this is how I like to explain SEO. This is a journey of a plant, right? SEO, if we want to look at your business website as a seed, you want to put the seed into the ground and you want it to grow. The ground is Google, right? The roots is SEO. The top of the plant, that's your paid ads, that's your socials, that's all the things that actually show the brand that you are creating. The problem is, and I see this, there are businesses that are sitting here bearing fruit, right? They're making money, but they don't have any keyword research. They don't have any content schedules. They're not getting backlinks. Backlinks is a huge one. Backlinks is a ranking factor. And a backlink is when you take your website and you are using content to reach to some other website and they are returning back with your website. It's called the backlink. That is one of the most important ranking factors right now. And many people miss out on it because they don't think about it. They're like, well, my website exists. My plant is in the ground. Therefore, I should be making money. No, you have to promote your website. You have to use what you do with your website in establishing what is called your EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Those are what you can put into your website. You can put that into your blogging. You can put that into your socials. I've been doing this for 15 years. I am the best in Las Vegas for what I do. That right there is a post. That right there is going to say, okay, this person on Facebook is utilizing the fact that they are an experienced expert, and I want to find out more about them, right? So the thing about this illustration is when you have a new website, right down here, and you bring it online, you have your URL transferred over, and it's live. Google does something to you. Puts you what's called the sandbox. Sandbox is a 3-month penalty, no questions asked, right? There's a reason for this, and it's called indexing. Google is going to shut off the fact that you can't see who's come to your website because they're sending out indexing bots to bring the website to their servers, right? It takes 3 months. You cannot get away from it. It's not that you did anything wrong, it's just part of Google's platform. They have to do this. But while you're in the sandbox, you get to focus on the other stuff. The sandbox only relates to your website. It does not relate to your socials. So what you could do while you know that you can't see the traffic coming to your website, you can start working on your Facebook. You can start working on your YouTube, your Instagram. So by the time you come out of that sandbox, your plant may be up here because you've worked on the other attributes of your business waiting for Google to index you. A lot of the time, I've done many audits for many different industries. There's kind of a miscommunication when we look at the data that the business may be here, the roots are down there, and they've got 3 months. They started with 50 visits a month, they're down to 30, they're down to 10, and they don't know why. They don't know why is because the roots of your SEO are down here and they're about to go back. And it's just because a lot of the time we're not looking at the behind the scenes of how a website actually works. It's great that you have good pictures, it's great that you have engaging copy, but if there's no one else to see that you exist and you're not promoting it out through the socials, you're not promoting it through your blogging, you're not promoting it through your content, you're not going to have much time, right? Any questions at all? Any questions at all? Okay. Moving forward. Of course, is there any questions? Google Ads is very good at taking your money, right? You're renting those words. SEO, you have to earn them. It's just part of the game. You've got to constantly change things about your on-page, about your content, about your keyword research, so that it stays fresh and that it gets indexed better, and therefore people start coming to your website. Now, when it comes to the first part of SEO, which would be on-page, there's an actual system that you should probably philosophically understand. The very beginning of your website, the very top, should have a call to action. Usually a title, but contact me, call me, email me right away. The reason for this is someone's come to you from Facebook, someone's come to you from Instagram, and they come to your website, they're probably warm clients, warm leads, and they want to talk to you right away. Now, underneath that is where a little bit of the art form of SEO comes into play. What is it that you need to let the person know to get them to engage again with you? They may not be warm. They may be like, I don't know what this website is. There's usually going to be either an about you, about the business, what you do, and then a call to action underneath that. Towards the bottom, testimonials. Down below that, an FAQ, right? You have an opportunity with your business website to disengage any objections right off the bat through the first page. Now, of course, your titles and everything should talk more about who you are, what your services are, what case studies, what other things you've done, so that if someone wants to see that, they can click on that part of that page and read about it. But the home page is literally should be, contact me if you really want to talk to me. This is what I do. These are the people who have used me. These are the questions and the answers about my services or who I am, right? There are a lot of other attributes when it comes to SEO that apply to the socials. Here's one thing that SEOs do love to talk about, and that is Reddit, right? Reddit is an untapped resource for creating your EAT, your experience, your authoritativeness. You start a Reddit and you start commenting and start joining every single Reddit that is related to your business, whatever your business industry is. After a little while, you start your own subreddit and you invite the people to come in. By that time, you should have about 60 to 100 karma. You will have an understanding of who's engaging, the questions, your answers, and when you bring them into your own subreddit, now you can start to zero in on those individual people, and honestly, you can start selling to them. You could rank just for your Reddit page and your Reddit account just alone, just that alone, right? Another one that people sleep on is Pinterest. People have been sleeping on Pinterest for years. It's one of the older search engines. It's a search engine. But the thing is, people in Las Vegas are missing the boat, the fact that from Thursday to Sunday afternoon, their users skyrocket. Generally women married with kids, because they're on the couch watching football, their husbands are watching football, and they're on Pinterest looking for pins. So if your business is related to selling to women or services to women, starting a Pinterest, you can't go wrong. It just works that way, right? Any questions? Any questions at all? No? Okay. Let's see here. So let's talk about, so when it comes to Google, Google is not this Illuminati machine that knows everything about you, knows how to put a sponsored ad in you. It's really only just going off your last search history. Even to the fact of, as we're talking right now, they are behind thousands, if not tens of thousands of keywords to index. They just can't keep up. And because of that, there are keywords out there that are relevant to your business, relevant to a content, relevant to a post that Google hasn't indexed yet. So what does that mean? If you can find those keywords and you can create a blog, a post about it, put it into your website, eventually the index bots will find it, they will rank it, And because you've already has that as your keyword, you've ranked for that keyword, even if there's no volume for it, no competition. Once that gets put into the system, you will be ranked number 1. Google is still not this incredible machine. It is still behind. It still has to catch up. It still has to make money. That's what Google Ads is. It is about them making money. The result is the SEO ranking. Who actually earned that keyword right now, right? So along with the keyword research that should be done when you're starting your business, are the words, what are the different type of topics that you could talk about that are actually being searched, but Google hasn't indexed it yet. Another thing is technical SEO. There's about 7 different elements of SEO. There's 7 different disciplines. Technical SEO is the one that's going to get you a high bounce rate. Bounce rate meaning people come on and then bounce off. One of the biggest factors I've seen with technical SEO is having a movie on your homepage. A big 1080p video. The reason it's one of the ranking factors in Google is called load speed. Load speed, big one. Because if it takes too long for your page to load, people click off. It's undeniably seen through every single SEO audit that I've ever done. Some people are like, well, I love this video. I got to have a video of what my business is about. Cut it down to a GIF. Cut it down to a picture. Take the picture, move it off to the side. Because if people are going to spend more than a few seconds looking at your website, your on page, and they click off, you can forget about the conversion because it ain't going to happen, right? Another thing too is when we talk about development of content, blogs has been around for 20, 30 years. It's still relevant today, but blogs should be written as if it's a research paper. What it is that you're going to talk to them about, how you're going to make your first compelling element to that topic, tell them what you told them, tell it to them again. Generally, blogs should be around 1,200 to 2,000 words, right? With the structure, with a link to your homepage and link to references at the bottom of the blog, right? Again, images are very important. Images are absolutely necessary for certain elements of blogging. Specifically when it comes to images, you want to use that for your Google My Business profile. Google My Business profile is probably one of the most important first actions you could build as a business, whether or not you have a brick and mortar, even if you have an online business. You can still use it as a service-only Google My Business profile and put high quality photos of your logo, of what the business does. But if you're a service area only, you can't use your residential home, and you can't use a WeWork, and you can't use a PO box from UPS. They don't want that. They will cut you off. But you can still build your online presence with a Google My Business profile, along with all the attributes: name, website, socials, hours of operation. All that should be inputted in there. Absolutely to a T, and you should be looking at it once every 3 months to make sure everything is up to date. Another element of SEO is what's called off-page SEO. Off-page? Off-page? Off-page. So we have on-page and we have off-page. On-page is going to be your home page. It's going to be the way that your website is linked. Off-page is going to be your backlinks and referring domains. So whenever you get a backlink, you also want to get the referring domain from that backlink. Where is it coming from that they're linking to your website, right? Again, when we look at Google Ads and SEO, Google Ads is great if you can afford to do it right off the bat. It's an amazing thing to have an awareness campaign because you can bridge it out to Vegas, you can bridge it out to the country. And it just costs you money because you're renting it, right? But it gets people to come to your website. Google Ads ends once they come to your website. That's why it's so important that you should have some kind of strategy for Google Ads. Absolutely. Whether it's awareness, lead generation, if you have an app, Google Ads is perfect for it because you can link it to the Google Store or to the Apple Store. You could link that app so that you could start to get people to come to the app. And even with app development, there's SEO involved in it. What is the app? How is this going to make my life better? What is it that this thing does? And you only have a certain amount of characters to describe it, but you should utilize the strategy to at least have keywords in that description and even use the name of the app and start working that into your homepage. So along a way, this is, SEO is a very complex, slow turtle of an industry. It's just the way that it is, and it just takes time. A lot of the thing that I see in SEO is the fact that a lot of businesses, they want 1 year of traffic in 3 months. And again, this is an investment. This is something that's going to take time to develop. And the thing is, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to write a blog. Okay, make a video. That's essentially, you can make a blog video or write a blog. Video is very important, all right? Video is so important right now. But again, using SEO in the descriptions and in the title, and then your links to your website and all your socials underneath in the description. That description should be very long so that someone that wants to read more about what you do can link to other things, right? Now, if they link to your web page and they come from YouTube to your web page, you get what's called a referral link, right? Or a referral count. That's measurable in Google Analytics. I can see how many people in the last 7, 14, 30 days came to your website from your YouTube, right? Any questions? Yes?
How would you balance Google Ads with your website SEO? Would you start running ads if your website is being developed, is in the sandbox, as you say? Is that a good time to run Google Ads?
Actually, yeah, I would agree with that. At least an awareness campaign, at least with that. And I mean, if we look at the cost, awareness campaign is going to be pretty cheap to do, right? You're looking at the keywords for just a mass open net, right? But yeah, that's an excellent time to do it because the Google Sandbox is only reflecting the URL of the homepage. Google Ad Manager is not a part of that. That's separated, right? So you could still see who's coming and clicking on your website just on an awareness campaign. But once you come out of the sandbox, now it's time to actually do the actual website technical SEO, making sure everything is passing the tests so that when you come out of it, not only are you indexed, but people are actually searching for you, right? It's very important that in SEO we see who it is that's coming to us. Why? How long were they there? Did they buy something? How much did they buy? What platform did they come in? Were they on their phone? Were they on their desktop? Most people are missing out that 70-80% of the people coming to your website are coming from your phone in the first place, right? So again, the strategy you have for your desktop, you got to cut that up for mobile because mobile load speed is even more trickier to get a decent rating than it is your desktop. Desktop, you have a lot more screenplay to play with, right? Mobile, you don't. You don't have a whole lot of leeway with it, right? And especially with Apple and Android phones, because it has to get resized for each one of our phones and when we use it, right? And if you have a movie rolling on your desktop and you want to optimize it, get rid of it for your mobile. Just get rid of it.
Unless it's a YouTube link.
Unless it's a YouTube link, right. Unless it's a hyperlink to a YouTube channel that you've created. Absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. But I've seen it too many times where I see the desktop and I'm like, we'll see what this looks like on mobile. And there's that movie. And it's just slow. It's just, and the thing is, I'm only there to help. I'm like, just get rid of this movie. Don't have that on there. And the thing too is a lot of the time, a lot of the attributes from your desktop transfer to the mobile with the little 3 bars or a call button there. You can save some kind of load speed just on that alone. But again, 2 different strategies. What are you building for your desktop? How is that converting to mobile?
And the images some people post are huge.
Of course.
They're 32 inches wide and
Yes.
space, and it's a high definition picture, and then they just scrunch it down and think that that's fine, but
Yep.
it's still referring to the big image. Even
Yeah.
when you go to mobile.
Yeah, it's something, at least if you have a business website or you're starting one, just be aware that the way that you design your homepage is going to be different for those 2 different things, for desktop and for mobile. It's got to be different because you want to have optimal load speed. Optimal. We want it quick, you want it fast to them, and you want it to be engaging right off the bat.
So let me ask you about the keywords in the meta.
Sure.
Is there a limit?
For meta descriptions, it's 140 characters. For the title, it's 70. So this is another thing.
So it's just a few dozen keywords.
Yep,
That's it.
right. Now,
You go over it.
you can go over, but if you go over, you're forcing Google to index you at a slower rate, right? Because it's got to grab all those words. And I know it's like, well, what's the difference between 140 and 200? It's a big difference when it comes to the indexing, right? You have an opportunity in 140 characters to just get attention from somebody, right? Usually the best meta descriptions I've seen start with a question. The question in which your business is solving. Blah, 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 question mark. Need help with blah, 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 question mark. You could just run it just off that question because the answer to the question is the link, and they can click on the link, right? Now, again, I've seen meta descriptions that are absolutely incoherent whatsoever. They don't make any sense. But that's because the person that designed it wasn't thinking about the customer. They were trying to push their information of their business. With the meta description, you have an opportunity to ask a question with a relevant solution, the solution being your website, right? Even with the title, this is another SEO engineering thing. If your business is here in Las Vegas, you better have Las Vegas in the title. Even to the point, and there's studies on this, comma, Nevada, right? Blah, blah, blah business, Las Vegas, comma, Nevada. Because it ranks for local. It ranks locally. Because if someone's searching for best plumber in Las Vegas, and you don't have Las Vegas in your title, you're forcing Google to say, okay, this website, this business is in Las Vegas, but it's not fast enough for us to see it because it's not in Las Vegas in the title. Yes?
Does SEO tend to change year over year? Because at one point, an SEO expert told me, make sure you have a descriptive URL where you just, as much as you can describe in the URL, it picks up on that link. Then somebody else looked at it and said, scrap that.
Don't do that.
That is not the way to shrink it, have about, have,
Yep.
main, have. And that was counter, it's opposite.
There is still a lot of debate, even in SEOs, even just on the URL itself. Some say use a keyword in your URL when you buy the domain. I'm not like that, no. Does it work? It used to.
Okay.
5 years ago. Doesn't work now. Because you want to be able, because of the socials that we have, if you have Las Vegas Plumbers, Las Vegas, Nevada as your URL, well, you're just a plumber. What's the name of your business? .com. You know what I mean? If you can't get a URL without having Las Vegas or LV, that's fine. You can put that in there, but don't make that a strategy for getting customers. You know what I mean? You want to make it short because you're going to be putting that on socials. You're going to be putting that into other places. And if it's this long of a URL as opposed to this, it just looks better.
What you're describing sounds to me that, like, there's 2 different approaches to engage.
Mm-hmm.
One approach is you are actively putting these links into social media, but if you were not to do that, and you went with, search links instead, then the descriptive URL would be more effective. Is that right?
5 years ago, yes.
Okay.
Not now. It's because you want to keep it short, right? The URL is got a lot of weight on top of it, right? It's what defines your website. If it's a long URL and you can't shorten it, or you can't post that URL into your YouTube, into your Reddit, into your Instagram. I mean, just think if the URL is going across the URL description and .com is underneath it.
What about for searchability?
Where I see URLs coming into play like that are on blog titles.
Yep.
Right? But if it's just your domain name, yeah, he's right. You don't have to put those keywords in that domain name. But blog titles, absolutely.
Yep.
That SEO expert who told me, I mean, his skills might be outdated, but he was saying it's not the DNS itself, not the domain name, but the pages. So the sublinks, those are ones that he was suggesting to make more descriptive and long.
Right, so now you're talking about website structure. That's completely different, right? So if we're talking about just what's searchable on the search results page, the name of the home page, that's important to be as short as possible. If you have an about us, or you have a blog, or you have other content that's coming from that website, then yeah, you're going to want to describe it, right? Underscores, yeah, in the URL, because that's part of the structure, right? So it's something that comes after the URL, right? You're absolutely right on that. It's just the philosophy of, like, if you are using a plumber and you're saying Las Vegas plumbers fixyourdrain.com, doesn't work. It used to work 5 years ago because Google would index it fixdrain.com. But now if it's just Las Vegas plumbers, now that URL has a lot more strength because it's competing against other plumbers. You know what I mean?
Are you going to start, is the structure part of your...
Not this one. About this lecture?
Yeah, are you going to talk about the structure later?
Yeah, I'll talk about other ones. Yeah, next month probably. Next month, yeah.
Is that sitemap?
Sitemap, yes, absolutely. So that is, you're talking about the sitemap, right? So the URL, every type of page that's associated with that, that's called the sitemap. That's indexable to Google. You want to make sure that that is absolutely precise as to where they come from and where they go.
That's where the guy, the current CMO, somebody who claims to be the expert in marketing, said that, you know, I had a descriptive about us page. Rather than putting in a URL, you know, domain name / about us, I did something more, you know, extensive or descriptive, and he said don't do that. He wanted it, he suggested to shorten it back to about us, etc., etc.
It's different philosophies for everybody. It's just, and the thing is, a lot of SEOs, it depends on when they came into it, because it's always changing, right? And the thing is, the problem that you have with that is the algorithm updates. There's been about 4 of them. So each one of them are addressing the utilization of the URL, because the URL is so powerful. It's what gives backlinks to you. And if that backlink is going to head to, like, what's your URL again? Blah, 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 blah. No, it works, but it doesn't work anymore. And the other thing that you don't want to do is have a .vegas domain. Don't do that. Don't do that. Whatever you think, oh, I can just have a .vegas because I'm in Vegas. Don't do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, how short URL helps?
What was that?
How short URL helps? Like five letter URL, 6-letter URLs. Does it help, or we can go with some 2-word URL?
Like an acronym?
Yeah. So here's the thing that I would say. You want to be able to get, first of all, the URL that's available. So you're going to have to make sacrifices on that alone. If you have to use underscores, that's fine. But I would stick to the basic, most utilized URL, .com, that you can get. You can still get those URLs and make them referring, right? Again, this is an old SEO trick, was like, buy 20 domains and just link them all to your website. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Exactly.
Google have an algorithm that detects that and actually...
Yes, and you will get penalized. It's called link farming, and it is not, don't do that. You can have 1 to 2 that maybe suffice for different type of elements of your business, but don't buy 20 of them.
No, I'm saying like the 5-letter URL, 6-letter URL, in comparison to 10-letter URLs. I mean the
If it's
larger word, two
right,
words combined.
it depends on your business, right? And again, it's also what's available. Does GoDaddy have it? Does Google Domains have it? What domain? If you can keep it short, I would stay away from acronyms. All right. So if it's ABC Bar Supply, don't buy ABC Bar, but ABC, barsupply.com. You know what I mean? The URL is going to help in a very small way to understand the nature of the domain of your web page, right? Longer, fine, but don't buy 20 URLs that suffice for every keyword. That's an old technique from 7 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. But keeping it short and keeping it concise, .com, maybe .org, maybe.
It sounds like whatever strategy you discover today that works today, it's going to very quickly change because the algorithm, once these companies figure out what the algorithm that you're using is, they change it. Well, when they figure out you understand their algorithm, they change it so that...
Right. And
it's not malicious, they're just improving.
right. It's engineering it to the most efficient manner, right? You can't have a long URL and say that it's engineered specifically.
Right. Well, their goal is to profit off of, their ad revenue. Like they sell to put people at the top, and if you game their system, they can't sell that. So they're always trying to adjust that SEO or algorithms. They have better control.
The algorithm isn't as smart as you think it is. It's just, and the thing is, this is just, the URL, the name of the URL is irrelevant. It's the homepage that makes sense. It's does it actually link to your homepage, and does your homepage actually do the job that you want it to do? The URL, I mean, it's crumbs. It used to be a big deal. It used to be get 20 of them and put them on there. That way you rank for URLs. But ranking for URL doesn't really make sense anymore. Your on-page SEO is what makes sense. That needs to be taken to a fine-tooth comb so that you can convert people in the top, the middle, and the bottom of your homepage, right? Social links, testimonials, videos of people that have used your product. That's way more important than a URL, whether the wording is 10 words or 10 letters or an underscore. No, focus on the homepage. Everything on that. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean, are we interrupting your flow of...
Oh, I'm already done. We're talking right now.
Oh, great. I have a question about,
Sure.
There are companies out there that are offering really cheap SEO. They build your website, they do the SEO, and they talk about, the content, even filling out the contents for you with everything that you just mentioned.
Yep.
Very affordable.
It's all AI. It's all AI.
Really?
Yep. All AI.
Like we generate content from the AI.
Yep. Well,
And how do you feel about that?
here's my thinking on AI. AI is a great tool when it comes to creating content ideas for your business, your audience, and everything. But AI is written to impress you. You are writing to impress your audience. Very different.
So it's prompt engineering, how you provide the prompt to AI to get something out.
It's impressing you. Again, if it's going to give you these ideas and you copy paste them into your web page, do you think it's going to rank? When anyone in the country, anyone in the world could write literally almost the same prompt, post the same thing. Now you're not differentiating yourself. You're not you're not growing with your business. You're not growing with your audience. You're not developing your EAT, your expertise. You just had a computer do it for you. Again, write for your audience.
You ever ask ChatGPT to critique a site?
Critique a site? No.
For search engine?
No, because if I'm going to do a competitive analysis, right? I don't need AI to tell me.
You don't, but I do.
It depends on what you want it to do. I need to look at the technicals. I need to see how many visits that person got in 30 days. ChatGPT doesn't, you can't do that yet, no. It will eventually.
Look at the analytics.
I want to look at the analytics. I want to see
Why don't you
who's.
give it to ChatGPT?
You could try. I've seen some GPTs that are close when it comes to visitors, time on, but that's what Google Analytics is for. There's a laundry list of SEO specific programs that will do that type of analysis for you.
So what if we make a prompt like, make a content for my audience to ChatGPT?
Specifically about what? Are you selling to them? Are you trying to get leads? Are you trying to get awareness? You're already writing a page. Now we're going to go to 3 pages of prompts. You see that's the problem, right? When you have when you have your own website, you get to defeat AI by knowing it for yourself. You know what I mean? Did you have a question?
I was wondering if there were any tools that give any kind of appraisal of your site and let you know, hey, the load time is too long or whatever. I don't know what else things that would appraise it.
So for load time, there's a free website called GT Metrics. It's the one that I use for all my audits in the first part, right? It will take your website and will break it apart into the elements that is loading at that time.
What's it called?
GT Metrics. GT Metrics. You can do your own you can do a website for free. You can get a free account for a couple more. I use it all the time because it comes with a nice graph, and it will tell me a letter rating as to the speed and load time of that website. Anything below a C, you got to start taking things apart. But GT Metrics is the best one that I found. There are core web vitals through Google that you can do. It's okay, gives you a percentage based upon the 3 core web vital updates or the core web vital elements, load time, first layout shift, all these things. It'll give you a grade. Anything below 60%, you got to start looking at things.
Can it tell you any more about like how a web crawler is perceiving your website, or is that just too much magic behind it?
That you're getting into the server element of things. So if you have a website and you have control of the servers and you can see the actual programming that's being loaded into the website, you will see these little things every once in a while called Google bots. And those are the indexing bots. Think of indexing as like, if we're using this metaphor, they're ants. Google's sending out ants, and every time they come to your website, they're bringing something back, right? It never ends, because every time you change a word, every time you put a blog post, every time you've changed some of the technical elements of things, you have to let the ant find it and then bring it back.
It can take a long time.
It can take a long time. It can take a long time.
I can suggest. One is Google Analytics. It can guide you like which flow your user is going from which page, where he come from, like from this page to this page, how he's jumping. Another tool is paid. It's a Datadog. That will also guide you like how your user is moving through all your websites.
Right.
How much time they are spending on each page.
Yes. So when Google Analytics will tell you, like you were saying, who came to your web page, where did they come from, how long were they there, did they bounce off in 5 seconds, did they buy something, how much did they buy, what platform were they on. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of things underneath Google Analytics that you can find, and really nerdy stuff that you could, like, oh, I didn't know about this, or the path, you know, the load time of your About Us page or anything like that.
That's called the Datadog. Datadog do a lot more than that, because they will charge you like $70 per host per website, but they give you a lot more data. That the load time is dividing why is slow.
Datadog requires you to actually code up. It's tightly integrated with your code.
No, if you are using the AWS or Azure, any cloud platform, it just few like 3-4 clicks, you can integrate it simply. I mean, they try to make it very simple to integrate, but if you want to get more out of your website, like, then definitely you need a developer capabilities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even in SEOs, there's Ahrefs, there's SEMrush, there's specific programs that will interpret everything that's going on with a website for SEO purposes only, right? Another thing is Google Search Console. Google Search Console is not Google Analytics. But what Google Search Console is different from is it tells you what the words that people came to your website from. That's your keyword research, and that's developing along with your Google Analytics. Just those two programs alone, which are free to get ready, you'll be able to tell a lot about your website and the terms in which people have found you. Now, as it starts to grow, you will see what's called it's called impressions. An impression is basically your website showed up in the search results page somewhere from 1 to 10, right? 10 pages deep. That's awareness. It showed up somewhere. Now, what you would do is you would take that awareness and you would put it into, you could use AI for this, give me ideas on blog or content for my website based on this word with an impression of this much. And it'll give you some ideas. But again, if you know your business, you can take that AI and say, okay, that's great, I can do it better. I can do.
It's also free, right?
That's a free, yep. Google Search Console and Google Analytics are free.
And it collect data from your sitemap.
Yes, yep, with an integration code. You got to put the code into your website, so it's a tag.
Go ahead.
Well, I need to be clear about the meta keywords.
Yep,
It's just 140 characters.
140, yep,
And then each one is separated by a comma and space.
right.
So that's not much. I mean,
It's not.
I got more than that right now.
See, and that's the thing. The more you have, and again, if you have to describe your business in more, but keep in mind, after 140, it's not optimized. That's the only difference. If you have to have 240 characters to describe the business or what you do and to engage them, keep in mind that's just not optimized.
And then you said use those keywords outside of it.
Yes, use it.
Give me an example.
So if we are talking, we'll just go back to plumbers, right? You have a plumbing website. You do keyword research and you know that people are searching. There's a trend search for how to unclog a toilet. Somewhere on your page should either be how to do it or a link to a video that you've done it with.
Okay, but that's not connected to your meta keywords.
No. So meta is,
Independent.
yeah, that would be independent. That would be ranking. See, ranking for keywords. Right. Ranking for keywords is all inclusive to the URL, right? You may rank for, best plumber in Las Vegas in your About Us page, but the thing is that when you start to look at the research and what people are actually searching for, knowing those words and those terms, getting them somewhere in your web page, right? Maybe even it might be in the meta description. It might be, right? But it also might be in the description of your Google My Business profile as well, because that's a ranking factor. That's the near me rank right now. So if you have that plumbers near me and you have how to unclog your toilet, and the thing is, that's why it's so complex.
I just want to pay into it.
That's kind of my question is, all those services out there that are promising to build you SEO websites. What's your take on that?
Other than it being AI and that it's...
So is it effective or not?
No,
Okay.
it's not. Because I'm old school in the way I think that as a business owner, business website creator, business owner of a website, you should do more time in researching who you are and who you want to engage with than trusting in an AI. Because an AI is just going to keep you happy, right? But doing the keyword research, doing the actual research on the type of audiences that need your service, you won't need AI, right? And again, if you start building that out with the socials, you won't need Google ads. You just won't need them because you will start to develop the plant and the roots below it so that you're like, okay, this is what I'm focusing on. I'm going to write this content that's specific to this demographic. Write it like a research paper, put it out there, promote it, and then watch as people come. Change it every month so that you can see who's ranking above you and below you. And then from there, you start tearing them apart because you're writing better content than them. It's all a process.
One more thing.
Sure. Ask as many questions as you want.
I've seen in URLs a name, dot, and then another word, .com.
So a double .com or a name dot name com.
Yeah. So that basically is that's an extra That's an extra, it's a linked page on somebody's server
Yes.
under their URL.
Yes.
But is it a bad thing for?
Is it a bad thing for just because of the culture that people use or what they expect, or are you talking about like the crawlers literally will de-rank you when you have like non-standard URLs?
It won't, it'll take longer to rank. Eventually, yes. So like what you're saying, like a name dot, or like, is it a backslash.com?
You know, backslash is just a normal directory
Yep.
under that main hosted site.
It's just a
But the
subdomain.
dot.
Yeah, just a subdomain, yeah.
But the dot is a separate actual, has to be residing as a separate web page.
Yeah, then it would be a URL associated with a subdomain, basically. So like a directory, right?
Yeah, it's like it's different from a regular directory.
Okay, so like a link tree, basically.
Can't describe it.
Yeah, don't do link trees. Take the time and build a website and don't use a link tree, because link trees don't rank at all, because it's all relative to a page with links beyond it, right? So, what was your question again?
I was just curious if you were advising this just because you're working against a culture of people who don't expect like a .vegas, or they don't expect another dot somewhere, or are you literally saying like Google de-ranks you when it doesn't like
Right, it doesn't de-rank you, but we know that a .com is much more powerful. That's why it's more expensive, right? .coms are always going to be, that's why you want to find the URL with a .com. .vegas is not, it's dirt cheap, right? It's dirt cheap to buy those domains because it's only sitting in the indexing for .vegas. .com is for the entire world, you know what I mean? Or .org or .ai or something along those lines, right? Does it hurt? Not really, but it does take time because you're not utilizing the .com to its best efficiency. You know what I mean? I've never seen a .vegas website that actually ranks. I've seen thousands of .coms. Millions of them rank for .com. That's why they're so expensive. That's why they cost more.
Even we search about the Vegas too, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, and again, why would you want a .vegas? I mean, I get it. We're in Las Vegas. There's a domain for .vegas.
Yeah, I was just curious if Google is intentionally penalizing, .ai.
They're going to penalize for other things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and again,
the culture, will slowly shift. Now there's just all these other, .whatevers.
Right.
But I was just curious if
it's just another way to make,
had a bias.
Yeah, it's just not a very common practice to do when you can have a .com. You know what I mean? Why make it more difficult for your site to rank? It's not that it's not going to, it's just going to take more time. Yes?
I do want to add something here. So if you don't use .com or .net or .org, when you're emailing people, it's more likely to end up with spam because
It's a very good point.
a lot of spammers, what they do is they, to try to do bulk mailings, they buy a lot of emails and they don't buy the .com, .net or .org, and they might buy other things. And so even if you, believe it or not, have .io or .ai, I guarantee you, because I've worked with those AI companies,
Yeah.
it's really hard to get your emails delivered because you'll end up in spam. And so, it's about reputation, but a lot of times these spam filters will get you hung up. So that's another reason, and not to do with Google, but,
Right.
you want to consider.
Any other questions? Any other questions at all? I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. Again, thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, you can come and see me after we're done here. I think we'll just wrap this up unless anyone else has any other questions. But I appreciate you hanging out for the last of the last and hopefully the best of the But again, appreciate it.
Next month you're going to do this again.
Yep.
You're going to deal with sitemaps and what else?
I'll do sitemaps and I'll do the search results page because a lot of people miss that a lot of your business research can be derived just from what you are searching on Google itself. So that's probably what I'll do. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.